The grocery store was buzzing with families' carts and weekend chatter until one tiny hand froze everything. A little girl, no older than 6, slowly raised her arm straight into the air, not to ask a question, not to grab a cereal box, but to give a rescue signal. A silent cry for help that only a trained professional would recognize. Officer Harris didn't notice her at first, but his K9 partner Rex did. The German shepherd stopped mid-step, ears snapping forward, body tensing like a coiled spring. His eyes locked onto the girl's trembling hand. Then, without warning, Rex began barking, sharp, frantic, urgent. Shoppers turned. A man gripping the girl's hand tightened his hold. The girl didn't speak. She just kept her hand raised, her eyes pleading. Officer Harris felt his stomach drop. Rex wasn't reacting to nothing. Something was terribly wrong. Officer Harris tried to restrain Rex, but the K9's instincts were unstoppable because Rex already knew the truth. That little girl was in danger, and what he did next stunned everyone in the store. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The grocery store was alive with the usual weekend noise. Shopping carts rattling, kids laughing, workers stocking shelves. Officer Harris walked down aisle 7 with Rex trotting calmly beside him. The German shepherd's nose twitching as he scanned for anything out of the ordinary. It was supposed to be a simple store patrol, nothing more. Then everything changed. A little girl in a bright pink sweater suddenly lifted her hand straight into the air. Stiff, nervous, trembling. She didn't wave. She didn't call out. She held it up with a quiet desperation only a trained eye could recognize. Rex saw it instantly. The K9 froze mid-step, ears snapping, forward body tightening like a drawn bow. His eyes locked on the girl with an intensity that made Officer Harris pause. Before he could ask anything, Rex let out a sharp, urgent bark that echoed through the aisle. Shoppers turned in confusion. The man beside the girl tightened his grip on her hand. Too tight. Her small fingers twitched with pain, but she didn't dare look up at him. Instead, she stared straight at Rex, her hand still raised. Officer Harris frowned. Rex, what is it, boy? But Rex wasn't confused. He was alarmed. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. And the K9 had sensed it before anyone else. Before Officer Harris could take another step, Rex lunged forward with a force that nearly ripped the leash from his hand. The German shepherd barked again, louder, sharper, more frantic, sending shoppers scrambling out of the aisle. Cereal boxes rattled on the shelves as the dog pulled hard, muscles coiled and trembling. Rex, heel. Harris commanded, but the K9 ignored him. His eyes stayed locked on the girl. The man beside her tugged her hand sharply. We're leaving, he hissed under his breath, trying to pull her toward the end of the aisle. The girl winced, but didn't lower her raised hand. Her fingers shook violently now, her eyes begging for help without making a sound. Rex growled, a deep rumbling warning that made the man freeze. Officer Harris felt the shift instantly. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a scared child. This was a distress signal. Sir, Harris called out, trying to keep his voice steady. I need to speak with you. The man didn't turn around. He tightened his grip on the girl's wrist and tried to speed up, dragging her along the polished floor. Rex barked again, louder, more urgent, pulling Harris forward with a strength fueled by instinct. Shoppers watched from behind shelves, eyes wide. The little girl raised her hand even higher. Her message was clear now. She wasn't safe, and Rex knew it before anyone else. Officer Harris quickened his pace, Rex pulling harder with every step. The girl's raised hand wasn't random. It was deliberate, precise, a signal. One Harris had only seen in specialized training sessions involving kidnapped minors taught to ask for help without speaking. But seeing it here from a trembling little girl in a grocery aisle made his stomach twist. The man kept his head low, trying to shield her as he dragged her toward the exit. Come on, he muttered harshly. Stop making a scene. Rex snarled, the sound vibrating through the entire aisle. The girl's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply raised her hand higher, fingers stiff, palm open, begging the only one who understood to save her. Sir, officer, Harris commanded, voice booming now. Stop right there. The man ignored him. That was all Rex needed. With a sudden, explosive pull, Rex broke into a sprint, dragging Harris forward. Shoppers gasped and backed away as the K9 closed the distance with terrifying speed. The man swore under his breath and tried to shove the girl ahead, but Rex cut him off, planting himself between them with a thunderous growl. The girl dropped her hand at last and clung to Rex's fur. Officer Harris reached them, breath tight. What's going on? He asked. Gently. The girl finally whispered the words that chilled him to the bone. He's not my dad. The moment the words left the girl's mouth, the entire store seemed to stop breathing. Officer Harris gently placed a hand on her shoulder, positioning himself between her and the man. Rex stayed pressed against her side, his tail stiff, his body protective, every instinct on high alert. The man finally lifted his head, sweat beating on his forehead, jaw clenched, eyes darting toward the exit. She's lying, he snapped. She's upset. Kids say things. But Rex didn't buy it. The K9 stepped forward, baring his teeth in a low, threatening growl. Harris narrowed his eyes. If she's lying, he said calmly, then you won't mind answering a few questions. The man took one small step back. Rex lunged. Harris tightened the leash just in time, but Rex's message was clear. The dog sensed danger, not confusion. A store manager rushed over. Officer, you should see this. He pointed to a security monitor showing footage from 5 minutes earlier. The girl reaching for a cereal box, the man grabbing her arm, her resisting, and the man glancing around before pulling her away quickly. Harris's heart dropped. Dispatch, I need backup, he said into his radio. The girl trembled. He took me from outside, she whispered. I tried to scream, but he covered my mouth. Rex gently nudged her hand with his nose, reassuring her. Officer Harris stared at The man really stared and finally understood why Rex reacted so violently. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was an abduction in progress. Backup arrived. Within minutes, officers surrounding the man as he grew more frantic. His excuses falling apart with every second. But Rex wasn't finished, not even close. The K9 tugged at his leash again, pulling Officer Harris toward the exit doors. "Where do you want to go, boy?" Harris murmured. Rex barked once, sharp and decisive. He led the officers outside, nose pressed to the ground, following a scent trail across the parking lot. The girl held Harris's hand tightly, walking beside Rex as if she trusted him more than anyone else in the world. Rex stopped at a dark blue SUV, the same SUV seen briefly on the store cameras, the same SUV the man had arrived in. Rex growled and began scratching at the back door. An officer yanked it open and everyone froze. Inside were children's belongings, a small jacket, a teddy bear, 2 juice boxes, and a folded blanket with a different child's name written on the tag. "This isn't just one case," an officer whispered. There were other kids. Rex barked again, furious, as if demanding they look faster. Under the blanket, they found duct tape and rope. Officer Harris felt his blood run cold. The man hadn't been panicking because he got caught. He panicked because Rex had uncovered the truth. He was a repeat offender. By the time officers finished searching the SUV, the truth was undeniable. The man wasn't just a kidnapper. He had planned to take more children. And if it weren't for Rex, the little girl standing beside Officer Harris would have been lost forever. She clung to Harris's hand as officers led the suspect away. "Am I safe now?" she whispered. Rex answered. Before Harris could, he stepped forward and gently nudged her, pressing his head into her chest. The girl wrapped her tiny arms around his neck, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Thank you," she sobbed. "You saved me." Moments later, her parents arrived, sprinting across the parking lot, collapsing into tears the second they held her. They hugged her like they never wanted to let go again. The mother knelt down and kissed Rex's head. "You're our angel," she whispered. Officer Harris smiled as the chief approached. "That dog didn't just react," the chief said. "He knew something we didn't." Rex sat tall beside the rescued girl, chest out, eyes focused like a soldier who had completed his mission. And as the family drove away safely, the crowd watched the heroic K9 with awe. A little girl gave a silent rescue signal and Rex turned it into a miracle.